Checking in with that triple S. Push down into your feet. Let's use the glutes to lift up, staying low in bridge. So staying low enough that you can feel your back ribs and your shoulder blades still on the ground. Finding that neutral pelvis. Let's unweight the right heel. So just your right toes, your left toes, your whole left foot is still on the ground, but we're lifting that right heel. Let's try some tiny pulses here, just a little lift and lower of the hips. Holding both glutes nice and strong, keeping the pelvis level so we're not arching the low back. Our tailbone is reaching toward the heels. Now pause in your bridge pose, lower that right heel down, lift your left heel. So now that whole right foot is on the ground, but just the left toes. Really push into your big toes as we start to pulse the hips, a little lift, a little lower, using the glutes. Keep the back of the neck long. From your bridge, lower this left heel down. So now we're pressing both feet down into the mat. Reach your right palm up and we'll stretch out that right wrist. Take the left fingers, pull your right fingers back. Push into those big toes. Switch hands, left palm up. Let's pull back. Breathe into the side ribs. Hands come back down to your sides. As you exhale, lower down one vertebra at a time, nice and slowly until you feel the sacrum right above the tailbone touch the ground. Interlace your hands behind your head. Elbows will come in, elbow to elbow or elbow towards your forehead. Take a breath in. Exhale, draw those pelvic points in. Lift just enough that you get off the shoulder blades. Gaze right toward the center. So if you can't see your belly button, that's fine. Gaze right between maybe the thighs. Inhale to lower down. Exhale, lift up. Feel your two pelvic points draw in. Now lean your skull back a little bit. So we're not yanking on the neck to lift. Our head is really leaning back into the hands. Inhale to lower. Adding a rotation. Exhale, lift up. Draw those pelvic points in. Feel your belly button pull down toward the ground. Hold that feeling in the low belly. Let's turn the center of the chest 1 inch to the right. We're still gazing between the legs. Lift that right elbow a little bit higher. Come back to center. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, lift up. Feel your pelvic points draw in. Lean your head back. Keep your gaze right between the legs. Turn the chest 1 inch to the left. Stay off that left shoulder blade. Come back to center. Inhale and lower down. Exhale, lift. As you lift up, keep your sacrum, so right above the tailbone on the ground. Don't let the low back arch. Keep your gaze at the center. Rotate 1 inch right. Lift off that right shoulder blade. Keep the back of the pelvis down. Come back to center. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Lean your head back. Keep the belly pulling down. Rotate 1 inch left. Stay off that left shoulder blade. See if you can lift that left elbow just a touch higher. Come back to center. Inhale and lower down. Good. Let's release it. We'll extend the right leg up as straight as it feels comfortable, but keep it as bent as it needs to be. From the very top of this right thigh, that's where the hip joint is, we're going to externally rotate the thigh and then internally rotate. So our thigh bone is rotating away from the body and then back in toward the body, but the legs staying in the same place. So we're not moving out and away. The leg stays still, but the hip rotates in and out, externally and internally. Let's pause with that external rotation. So your toes are probably turned out to the side a little bit. Bend the knee. Let's cross it over for our figure 4 stretch. Check that the back of the skull, the shoulder blades of the sacrum are on the ground. If it feels good, right hand can push that right thigh away. But let's keep the feeling of our two pelvic points pulling in toward each other. Not letting the low back arch. Release it down. Pick up the left foot as straight as it feels good, the leg. From the top of that left thigh bone, externally and internally rotate the hip. So our foot is kind of turning out and turning in, but the movement is coming from the top of the leg. Hold that external rotation so your toes are turned out a little bit. Bend the knees, you cross it over for figure four. Feel your back ribs on the ground, chin is slightly toward the throat. Left hand can come to the left thigh. Let's recheck our breath. Expanding into the ribs, front, side, and back. Sit down, hug your knees in, a little rock side to side or up and down. We'll come to a seated position. Pausing with that triple S. So picturing that broom right behind our back. We'll bring the hands forward, bring your hands into fist. Open and close a couple times for that fist of fire. Warming up the wrists and the forearms. Making sure you're not holding your breath. And then we'll make fist and just circle the wrist. So getting some rotation there. Let's head to quadruped, coming onto hands and knees. Shoulders right over your wrist, hips over your knees, or you could be on fist if that feels better. Let's extend the right leg back. So we just did this on the ground. Keep your spine neutral. So picture that broom touching the back of your skull, shoulder blades, and sacrum as you float the right toes off the ground. Bend the right knee. Now from the hip, the top of that right thigh bone, externally rotate, internally rotate. Externally rotate, hold everything still, internally rotate. Draw those pelvic points in, externally rotate, internally rotate. Make sure the ears don't drop below the shoulders, external and internal. Lower that right knee down, let's switch. Recheck that neutral spine, so not letting the head drop, not letting the back round. Slide the left toes back. Keep it low, but float the toes off the ground. Bend the knee, let's pause here. Lift your belly. Externally and internally rotate the left hip. So the thigh bone rotates out and then it rotates back in toward the body. But the whole time we're feeling those two pelvic points draw in, like we're trying to tighten our waistband on our pants. Lower down. Let's take a quick child's pose to get off the hands. You can come onto fingertips. You can have the arms all the way down. But let's really breathe into the side and back ribs here, getting that breath to expand into the back. Bring it forward for quadruped. Let's cat-cow. Inhaling to arch the back, extending the spine. Exhale, round the back, flexing the spine. Move at any pace with your breath. Make the movement as big as you can in the whole spine. Heading to down dog, tuck the toes, lift your hip creases way up. The weight's gonna stay in the hands and the arms. Nice straight arms, walk the feet in toward the hands. Let's really bend the knees. We're gonna let the knees and toes swivel or turn to the left a little bit, but keep the front ribs lifting up. And then let the knees and toes swivel to the right, big bend in the knees, lift your front ribs up. Let's try a couple more of those little swivels side to side. We keep pushing into the hands, so arms are active, our shoulders aren't sinking down. We've still got that upward lift into the hip creases, but we're getting this nice little swivel or rotation of the pelvis. Find that down dog with the hips really lifted. Walk the hands back toward the feet, happy squat. Lengthen the spine here. Hands can be as high on the legs as you need. Push down into the feet. Let's rise up. Pausing here, checking that triple S. Now, as we walk forward, we can pick up that right foot, balancing on the left leg, or you can keep the toes of that right foot down. Both arms reach forward. Let's get some thoracic rotation. As we lift the right arm up, we'll turn the ribs maybe an inch to the right, big circle with that right arm. Bring it all the way forward and then step the right foot forward. Pick up the left foot or keep the toes down. Big circle, left arm lifts up. The rib cage rotates to the left as we circle the arm, so that's thoracic rotation. 2 more times, step it forward, pick up the right foot. Push into that left big toe, reach the right arm up and back. Let the ribs turn to the right. Last time, step it forward. Pick up the left foot. Big circle. Step it forward. Let's reach the arms forward and up. Shoulder blades lift up, tailbone reaches down. Exhale, hinge, long spine to quadruped. Pause in hands and knees. Finding that neutral spine here. Lift the throat, slide the right toes back. And then the left toes, we're in plank. Keep that feeling of a broom behind your back. Slide the right knee back in. Slide the left knee back in, quadruped. Right foot slides back. Left foot steps to meet it, we're in plank. Right knee slides in. Left knee slides in. So let's do one cat-cow. And then step your right foot forward between the hands. Low lunge as you lift up. Let's check in with that triple S. Bringing the ears right over the shoulders, shoulders over the ribs, ribs over the pelvis. We're going to start with our hands on our ribs. You can either grab opposite rib or same rib. But I really want you to firm this left glute, check the pelvis, and visualize just your rib cage. So we're picturing right where our hands are. Our whole rib cage is going to turn just 1, maybe 2 inches to the right. Try not to move anywhere else. And then back to center. Turn just your rib cage to the right, 1 inch toward that front leg, and back to center. So you're going to keep rotating to the right, but we're really just trying to turn the rib cage. So we're not turning the lower back. We're not really turning the head. All the movement is coming from the center. So the torso, the core is helping to rotate. Good, let's lower this left hand down. You can come to left fingertips, you can come to the left fist. Right arm will reach out to the side. Let's turn the chest, so we're turning the ribs 1 inch to the right. You can let that left ear release down, really push down into that left hand. Circle the right arm. Big circle, so we're rotating the thoracic spine. We're getting some rotation in that right shoulder. Hand comes down, back to quadruped. Left foot steps forward, right knee stays down, lift up. Firm that right glute. Picture that broom right behind you. Either grab same hand, same rib, or crossover, but we're really visualizing just our rib cage turning 1 inch, maybe 2 to the left, and then back. Small rotation left, and back. So the only thing that's turning is the rib cage. Our pelvic points are still drawing in. Our tailbone is reaching straight down. Couple more times, working this thoracic rotation. Engage that right glute. Right hand comes down, maybe fist, maybe fingertips. Left arm out to the side. Turn the chest an inch to the left. Let the neck release. Good, more rotation. Let's circle that left arm. Rotating the shoulder. Keep that spine long. Plant the hand down, quadruped. Your choice. You can tuck the toes, lift up for down dog. You can take a child's pose. You can cat-cow. If you're in down dog and you want to add those swivels, let the knees bend. And then let knees and toes swivel side to side, but hold strong in the arms. So arms are straight and strong if we're adding that swivel. Good, let's walk it forward, bent knee forward folds. Triple S as you rise up. Shoulder blades lift, tailbone reaches down. Exhale, hinge, spine stays long, quadruped, hands and knees. We'll walk it in and out of plank. Shoulders over your wrists, make sure the ears don't drop below the shoulders. Left foot first, left foot steps back. Right foot steps back, we're in plank. Left knee slides in, right knee slides in, quadruped. Left foot back, right foot back into plank. Left knee in, right knee in, quadruped. Good, right foot steps forward. Tuck the left toes this time. Low lunge, same setup, ears over the shoulders, over the ribs, over the pelvis. We'll start with the hands at the ribs again, and either way, crossing over or same hand. This time we're gonna rotate both ways. So let the whole rib cage turn, maybe an inch or two right. Now see if you can turn the whole rib cage an inch or two to the left. So it's a small rotation both ways. We're really visualizing that whole rib cage. You can look at Pelvis Presley while you do this, my skeleton. Picture that whole rib cage. Now let the arms dangle, a little natural swing, but it's still coming from the ribs. So the arms aren't swinging or turning you. This is the amount of rotation we need when we walk. So just that natural swing. If you want to make it bigger, you can, but don't let anything else turn you more, just the ribs. So we actually need a lot of core engagement. We're using our obliques, we're using some of our deep core abdominals to get this rotation in the ribs. Good, we're heading to modified side plank. Left hand comes under the shoulder. You can slide that left knee in even closer. If it feels better on the bottom hip, you can swivel this left foot over to the side of the mat. Right foot steps straight back toward the center of the mat. Secure this left shoulder blade, so you want to feel it on the back of the ribs. Right hand will come behind the skull. So I'm going to face this way. Pushing into that left hand. Your right elbow can come in. We're going to turn the chest down any amount toward the ground or toward that left arm. Thoracic rotation, and then bring it back up. Push into that left hand. Rotate, so elbow can come in. We're turning the chest down and then open. So we're getting this thoracic rotation, stabilizing through the core. If you feel really solid here, you could try it with the right foot off the ground, but that's going to make it a little bit harder to stabilize, especially through that left hip and left shoulder. So that right foot can be on or off the ground. We're really relying on that core here. Good, quadruped. Let's tuck the toes for a moment in quadruped, hover the knees. So it's a low hover. We're not spreading the shoulder blades apart. We're not rounding the back. We're getting into that deep core. And then lower the knees. Untuck the toes. Left foot steps forward. Low lunge. Right toes tuck under. Lift up. Ears over the shoulders, over the ribs, over the pelvis. Start with hands on the ribs. Tighten that left glute. We're going to turn both ways. So the rib cage is going to turn left and right. Starting with just the ribs, nothing else. Keep drawing those pelvic points in. Now let the arms dangle. The ribs are still what's turning you, not the arms, but we can add a little swing. So our whole rib cage is turning an inch to the left, an inch to the right. If you want to make the arms bigger, add more of a swing, but make sure you're not turning in the pelvis or lower back. So our hips aren't moving, but our ribs are turning, and our arms are swinging. Heading to that modified side plank, right hand down, slide that right knee in. If it feels more comfortable, swivel those right toes over to the side of the mat. Left foot steps back. Drag that right shoulder down the back. Strong, straight right arm. Left hand behind the head. Bring the elbow in, so we're turning the chest down toward the ground any amount. Push into that right hand. Open the chest back up. Bring the chest down, the elbow can come in. And then bring it back, elbow up. A couple more times. So we're working the core with that thoracic rotation. You could have left toes off the ground if you're feeling really stable. Holding strong in that right shoulder. So try not to move that right arm at all. Quadruped, any option. Down dog, cat cow, child's pose, whatever you need. Checking in with that 360 breath around the rib cage. Let's walk it forward, bent knee forward fold. Push down into your feet, reach those arms forward and up. Shoulder blades lift, hands come down. Right foot steps back, high lunge. Soften that right knee, check the pelvis. Tailbone is reaching down, pelvic points are drawing in. Fists will come together, so we're just bringing our knuckles together. Engage this right glute. Now again, our whole rib cage is going to turn 1 or 2 inches to the left toward that front leg. Don't turn in the hips, so just the ribs, and then back to center. Tap your right toes forward to meet the left. Pick up that right foot or stay here. Push into the left big toe. Turn the rib cage 1 or 2 inches to the right. Bring it back. Tap it down. Back to your lunge. Bend the knee. Tighten the glutes. Rotate the whole rib cage left. Unwind. Tap forward. Stay here or pick up that right foot. Tighten this left glute. Rotate the whole rib cage right. And back. Tap it down. High lunge. Rotate left. Center. Tap forward. Stay here or pick it up. Rotate the rib cage right. Back to center. Now hold here. We're staying in this balance or have the toes down. We're going to stay and rotate right. Center. Right. Center. Right. Center. Step your right foot back. Turn to the side of the mat. We're coming into our squat. So heels in, toes out. Fingertips come to the top of the shoulders or the head of the arm bones. Draw those pelvic points in. Let's roll one shoulder back at a time. Getting some nice movement and rotation in the shoulders. And we'll hold here in our squat. Arms come out. Let's circle the arms. So as you circle the arms, we're getting some more movement and rotation in the shoulders. Keep those front ribs in. So keep the ribs stacked right over the pelvis. We're not arching the back or popping the ribs forward. So you don't really want to feel any movement in the front of the body. Just the shoulders and the arms. Good. Straighten your legs. Let's step it forward. Starting in that same high lunge. Left toes step back this time. Soften the knee. Check that pelvis. It's not tipping forward, tipping backwards. It's nice and neutral. Knuckles together. Rotate the whole rib cage an inch to the right. Tighten the left glute. Unwind to center. Tap the left toes forward. Stay here or pick up that left foot, balancing on the right leg. Rotate the rib cage 1 inch left. And center. Tap it down. High lunge. Work the glutes, strong legs. Rotate right. Unwind. Tap forward. Stay here or pick up the left foot. Rotate the whole rib cage, not the lower back. Bring it back. Couple more times. Tap down. Back to your lunge. Push into that right foot. Ooh, rotate first. Rotate right. Back. Tap it forward. Pick up the left foot. Rotate left. Back to center. Let's pause here. Push into that right big toe. Rotate left. And center. Rotate left. Don't let the arms turn you. Just let the ribs turn you. Rotate left. Back to center. Step the left foot back. Turn to the side of the mat. Find that squat. Tailbone down. Ribs right over. Fingers to the head of the arm bones. Roll one shoulder back at a time. If You want to pulse the legs here. You can also add a little pulse. Pushing down into the feet, working the legs. Good. Pause, reach those arms out, circle the arms. So if you feel like you want to make it a little bit more challenging as we circle the arms, as long as you can hold everything else still, maybe we lift one heel at a time for a little bit. Maybe we lift both heels and try to balance there. Good, lower the heels, let's straighten the legs, parallel the feet. We're gonna stay facing the side of the mat. Arms come out. So as we side lunge today, we're gonna externally rotate the shoulders, palms will flip up, and then internally rotate just enough that our palms come back down. So we're doing this shoulder rotation as we side lunge, however you want. So if you want, you can side lunge one way as you externally rotate, side lunge the other way as you internally rotate, or you could do both as you side lunge. Whatever works better for your brain. Might be a lot to think about. So of course, we want to keep our triple S here. Where side lunging is if we had a broom taped behind our back. We're getting this nice extra warmth and rotation around the shoulders. Good, let's rise up. Come to the top of the mat or wherever you want to balance. We're going to do one more balance. We'll pick up our right foot. Externally rotate, tap it across, and then pick it back up. Externally rotate, tap across, pick it back up. Externally rotate, tap across, maybe we bend both knees this time, and then pick it up. Externally rotate and tap, maybe both knees bend. Externally rotate, maybe we hover the right toes up. So each time you can see if you want to make it a little bit more challenging. If you can comfortably cross it over the thigh and sit back into a figure four, you can progress to that. So we're really working the stability of this left hip. We're working that rotation on the right hip. And using our core to help us balance. Good, let's switch. Pick up that left foot. Externally rotate, start with just the tap across. Pick it up, we'll build as we go. Externally rotate and tap. Nothing else moves, so keep that neutral pelvis. Maybe we add a bend in the standing knee as we tap across. So that's our next option. Maybe that's where we stop. Maybe we add a hover, keeping those left toes off the ground. So we're really pushing into those right big toes, working that right glute. If it can comfortably cross over the thigh or the knee, figure four. Keeping that feeling of a broom behind our back. Good, come back up. Let's head into quadruped. We'll do one more rotation. You could be on fists, you could be on your palms. Let's step the right foot out to the right. You can face the side of the mat if that gives you more space. We're going to be in this adductor rock position. Right hand comes behind the skull. Push down into that left hand. Turn just your ribs to the right. So don't let the low back turn. And then exhale. Let the ribs rotate to the left. The elbow can come in if that feels good. Push into the left hand. Rotate just the ribs, elbow up. Rotate the ribs the other way, elbow can come down. One more. Push into that left hand, rotate the ribs right. Exhale, rotate just the ribs to the left. Good, plant that right hand down, right knee down. Other side. Left foot steps out to the left. Left hand behind the skull. So our goal is to hold really still and really strong in this right shoulder. Push down into that right hand. Just the rib cage turns, nothing else. And then rotate the ribs to the right. That left elbow can come in more. Push into that right hand. Turn the ribs left. Exhale, turn the ribs right, hold that right arm nice and strong. One more, push into the right hand, turn the ribs left, and then turn the ribs right. Good, bring it down, unwind. Let's come into a seated position. Let your eyes close. Hands can rest anywhere. Take a couple of those 360 breaths, feeling the rib cage expand in all directions as you breathe in. Taking full exhales either through your nose or your mouth. Take a moment to send one grateful thought out into the universe.